It's a good question. Let me, first and foremost, before you start jumping to conclusions and start assessing or evaluating a leader or leadership, you have to understand that there is a very deeper level modeling and a taxonomy of leadership that if you don't know, that you're not supposed to assess or evaluate a leader, or let alone the leadership. At a general level, let me just give you a quick perspective that there are two different parts of a leadership model. There are some softer parts and there are hard parts, the crust of the whole modeling. And the softer parts have a playroom, a negotiation room, a wiggle room, so that actually everybody can, a leader can actually try and make some sort of negotiations and some sort of change or maneuverability based on what kind of situation he's in and what kind of people he's dealing with, and what kind of whims and wishes different people have, because he has to take everybody along. But mind you, he does not have to please everybody, and that's where the hard part comes into play. The hard part of the leadership models are based on morality and principles and values that a person represents and what the purpose requires. And when you can see clearly that a leader or leadership has compromised or starts to negotiate or is a little fluid in the harder parts of the leadership, and his decisions or her decisions are compromising the morals or values or the principles which are innate as an individual or values of a community that is representing, then yes, you can say that there are some vested interests that are manifesting and are showing some sort of signs, and it's not just an indicator, it's a very strong indicator whether it is true leadership or not. Let me just give you two quick examples of both sides so that you can understand what I'm trying to tell you. We are in Pakistan, and all of a sudden an economic crunch has just come upon us, and you can see a lot of businesses making a lot of headroom for themselves in putting the burden on their consumers, and a lot of businesses are actually trying to evade these kind of reforms, and that's where they're coming out of the closet, and that's where you can see the mask coming off, and they're just not really true to the core of leadership which they represent. And some of them are educational institutes, and this is a very big red flag and a big alarm for the demographic of what kind of values are being harbored inside our kids, because this is educational leadership, and that's the basis of all leadership. And on the other side, I'm going to give you a few examples. Let me just give you a couple of them so that you can understand what the hard part, non-compromising indicators are. Let me start with our own, the great Abdul Sattar Edhi, where when he was persuaded and forced into coming into politics, he not only blatantly refuted it, but denounced it, and came out and exposed a lot of forces that were trying to push him into politics for their own gain. And even though he could have benefited for his own movement by coming into politics, he didn't, because it did not speak or resonate with the values he himself had, and he actually projected and he lived his life on. And that's why we're crazy about this guy. And when it comes down to the values of community and innate individualism, you can see Mandela's model, where when the Jewish lobby was backing up his movement against the apartheid, and it was a very big pillar of his support, but when the same Jewish lobby wanted him to go against Yasser Arafat, when Mandela actually was rooting for him, and the Jewish lobby was blatantly criticizing, and they actually tried to influence him. And I'm quoting Mandela right now when he said that, "I can't change my stance based on the person I'm speaking with. I am what I am, and if you're not with me on one side of the fence, you shouldn't be supporting me on the other side of the fence, because these are my basic principles. I'm not going to be able to change them based on the kind of people I speak with." So these are simple indicators that anybody can look into if you look at it at a general level. Of course, you can run it down into a lot more stratas and try and see if more decision and a pattern is coming out by a leader or leadership, which is either on the softer side of the modeling or the harder side of the modeling. And one more thing before I let you go is that a lot of people judge the softer side of the model really harshly, and they actually want the leader not to negotiate on the softer side of things, even though that is the basic job of a leader, to make sure that when it's not about the morals or principles and values, he has to negotiate and bring everybody in the room and speak for the benefit of everybody.